I don't think we're actually ready for what is coming, not only to America, but also to the world. Global pushes and global initiatives, battle for our family, battle for our money, battle for our sovereignty and our freedoms. I'm scared we're not seeing what's actually happening. And it could be a little bit more to it. So let's jump into a video today about those things. We don't know what's coming, and I'm scared we don't see it. And if we don't see it, it's gonna be too late when it actually gets here. Today's video is gonna be going, it starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new to The Max, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. It does help us stay in the algorithm. We also want to hear from you. Let us know what you're doing to protect your family and protect your way of life. Is it your money? Is it food? Is it a parallel economy? Is it bartering? So what is it? What is it that you're doing to try to decentralize yourself from what is going on? Check out our new channel. We're going to be doing a lot of behind the scenes. Today's video and tomorrow's video are going to be on some of the people that come to the farm, a homestead tour, and also we're doing a chicken butchering. You'll be able to catch a lot of that information on the other channel, so check that out. Also, Misty has a wonderful tincture video that's going to give you a lot of information of how you can provide natural medicine for yourself. So let's jump into today's topics on this channel. What is the WEF doing, and how the global agenda is really something that we're all missing out on. We're not seeing actually what is coming. Let's jump into it. So we've heard we're gonna eat crickets. We know that. That's old news. We heard that the CBDC is coming. We heard that. Those things are happening, and they're gonna be more reality as time permits. But what else is actually happening? And I want you to do your own research. I'm not telling you anything that you cannot go read for yourself. I want you to listen to some of these topics that they're pushing. They want to change an initiative. The states that are leaning more liberal, the states that are leaning more democratic. You look at these states, these initiatives that's in here are what's happening in 2025, 2030, and 2035. All these initiatives are coming into play. Number one, virtual reality will protect our mental health. I don't know about you, but when I spend a lot of time on social media, on Twitter, on YouTube, I could get very stressed out. It makes us have anxiety. Our dopamine levels go nuts. So we live in this alternative universe when we're in social media. How many times have you said, I'm just gonna scan social media, and all of a sudden 30 minutes later you realize I've wasted 30 minutes of just scrolling. Now we say that's a bad thing, but the truth is, that's exactly what they want. They want to build a virtual reality to where we can live in this multiverse that's being made right in front of us. We laugh. I've watched tons of Marvel movies and DC comic movies, and we hear about all these universes and multiverses, and it's just a joke. You know, that's not real. But we are making it virtually now to where we can go and say, if we're not happy with ourselves, we can be something totally different. We can be this avatar in this system. Well, that assimilation goal of living in the metaverse, living in this different style of life, this fakeness, is exactly what they're wanting you to do. Some will ask, is that a bad thing? Well, think about it. You're getting out of reality. So most people would say, well, that's good because there's too much stress and anxiety in the world. There's war. So the multiverse doesn't have that. The metaverse doesn't have that. Yeah, but what are we doing? We're building an alternative reality. We're becoming so encased in our computer and our technology systems to where we don't interact with people anymore. Studies show that younger generations even know how to communicate to each other, how to have balanced conversations, how to write in cursive, how to communicate other than what we have, technology. Is technology a bad thing? No, but it's in moderation. Is eating cake a bad thing? No, but in moderation. Is having wealth a bad thing? No, but in moderation. We have to learn to scale that back. Technology is not bad. It does a lot of good things. We like convenience. But when it takes over our life, it becomes this new reality. That new reality is exactly what this agenda is pushing. That new reality would take you out of real life. And then all of a sudden, you're so encaptivated with what's going on virtually that you miss out on really what's happening around you in the real reality. You don't believe it, start reading up on it. It'll blow your mind. I love this because this is such an easy push to make Americans and populations believe in it. The middle class grows as inequality shrinks. Okay, so let's talk about that. How does inequality shrink? How did the poor become rich? How do the poor become out of the middle class? We would say hard work, dedication, the American dream. That's what we've pushed for, all the years prior to the last maybe, 20, 30 years. Now we're pushing, well, the more we can balance out the system, the more we'll all be out of poverty. Well, that sounds good. Again, by the ears, that sounds good. So the goal for that is not, let's raise everybody out of poverty. The goal is, let's bring everybody down to one level other than the ones that are leading. So we see more of a lords and serfs mentality. How do they get that way? Well, inflation, interest, and taxation. Let's see what's going on right now. Interest and inflation are going crazy. Ones who make businesses, ones who are entrepreneurs, they may not can borrow money as economical as they would like. Now, I'm not saying you should be borrowing money, but that does create jobs. So therefore, it costs more for them to do that. The people who are on the bottom or in the middle class right now, they're struggling to be able to pay for everything because of inflation. Taxation, because these lower class need so much help, we're going to overtax some of the upper class who are not believing in this agenda to bring that cash back into the lower classes of folks. What does that do? That doesn't bring them up, that brings the top down. So that puts one level of people. Doesn't that sound a lot like socialism? Now, I love giving. I love helping folks. I'm just a middle class guy, but I love being able to assist people. I love ministry. I love missions. But that's not because the government tells me I should do it. It's because I believe that that's a good thing to do with our morals and values. Well, we've lost our morals and values, so people are not taking care of maybe the impoverished that need to be taken care of, or we want to give them money instead of really helping them out with whatever situation they're dealing with that put them into poverty. So what we're seeing a lot of our governments do, instead of hold back on spending, instead of putting our money back into our economy to raise those people out of poverty, to help them get help with whatever problem that they have, we say we're going to keep spending money worldwide to make our initiatives heard in this globalist push, but then we're going to tax the people that are on top to bring them down and hopefully build the bottom up. Now, you hadn't solved the problem. All you've done is taken money from one and given to the other. If there's problems on the impoverished class, or there's problems that brought them to it, do you actually think it's going to get better? Look at our cities. We're giving more help, more shelters, more homeless areas, tent villages, all this social governance to help these people. But because we're not helping the actual problem, instead of going to the root of the problem, we're just throwing money at it, and it's getting worse. There's more crime in our cities. There's more tent cities. I don't even like going to big metro cities anymore because they scare us. It's one of those things, I don't want to be involved where I don't know what the protection is. I can't have a Second Amendment push. I can't trust the police because I don't know if they're in the neighborhoods. I can't trust people because the crime is so bad because they feel like they deserve. I don't even want to go into big stores now because we believe that that's a form of reparations where people can just take what they want out of it. Thievery. That's happening. So when we see those things happening, what are we doing? We're doing just what it says. We're balancing out people in the inequalities. We're giving reparations that we shouldn't be giving because it has nothing to do with the world we're in right now. We're throwing more money at social programs that are not actually getting fixed. We're taxing the higher class or upper middle class, and we're putting everybody on one level, other than the ones that are making these policies. I don't see any of the people that's pushing these globalist agendas. I don't see a lot of their monies being funneled into a lot of these things. I think what they're doing is setting these policies. They're investing their money and putting it behind politicians and putting it behind all these agendas, but ultimately, they're not the ones affected. So do we need to help other people? Do we need to bring people out of poverty and impoverished situations? Absolutely. There shouldn't be anybody in a country like America laying on the street and not having food, not having shelter. Now, let's get to the problem though. Is the problem they don't have money, or is the problem some other issue that put them there? Let's solve the root of the problem first before we just throw money at it, or to overtax, or to inflate all these goods, because all we're doing is just making a bigger problem, and we're taking away people's hard-earned money to help someone who is not willing to help themselves. And then guess what? Then you make civil unrest. Then everybody hates each other because this one's taking money, this one's stealing, this one's overtaxing, this one's hiding money. Then it becomes chaos. But it's no inequality. Everybody's on the same level. That's what's going to happen. It's going to make one level lower, higher. Lords, serfs. Read into it. This is one that's kind of scary, and I think it sounds good, but listen to this. We want to end all preventable forms of suffering. That sounds amazing. It sounds like we want to cure cancer. We want to cure all diseases. Everybody's just better. What do we do when we abort Down syndrome patients? What do we do when we think about euthanizing the older population, assisted suicides? You're preventing sickness. What do we do when we just go to an area and we say, you know what, we're not going to test this thing going here. We're just going to mass produce. We're going to make sure we have access to do all this to your DNA. What we're going to do is we're going to see people fall by the wayside. We're going to see someone in the population that can't make it because of all the stuff we're doing to it. A subpar food is going to cause more sickness. We're going to see a natural decline of some population because of all the policies we're putting in. Abortion, euthanization, those things are being embraced. You've got one party in America who is loving those policies of getting rid of people. Is that not crazy? But guess what? We're going to take all forms of sickness away. We're going to prevent that from happening. How can they prevent that? We're not God. This is a spiritual situation where we can't fix everybody. But they say they can. So how can they do that? Think about that just for a second. Now, do we need to eat healthy? Do we need to exercise? Do we need to do all we can to make our bodies more sustainable? Absolutely. We need to do that because that would help us to be healthy. However, our government is passing laws from the FDA is allowing all these medicines and all these foods that are terrible for us that other countries can't even have. They're allowing you to have it. Do we actually think that's preventing sickness? Sounds good. We want to fix all issues. We want everybody to be well. It's really impossible. And the things that they're talking about being well with, I don't know if that's helping the populace or hindering it. Next, we use technology to make policies based on evidence. Oh, this sounds great. Let's think about it. Do we want Homeland Security and do we want all these government agencies that are not elected to have access to everything and anything that we do or say or have on social media or on technology presence? Our banking's going more technological. This digital currency, all that stuff, guess what? This allows that technology to be spread to help us make sure we get rid of all those bad guys. Well, who are the bad guys? Well, the bad guys are whomever is against this administration. Wow, that is ironic. That is not good. That is not good at all. So if you disagree with whatever party's in power, if you disagree with whatever movement is going on right now, this is showing that, you know, politicians and bureaucrats and agencies can have access to your information, and that will help us be better. I think of movies, dystopian movies, and we laugh about those movies like The Hunger Games or Minority Report or, you know, Divergent, all those, we laugh. But this is exactly what's happening. And after this, we'll talk the 15-minute cities. They want the streets to be covered with people, not with cars. So we push against gas and petroleum and fossil fuels. We want people walking. We want people to have every access that they need within 15 minutes. Again, that sounds great, but I did a video on 15-minute cities not too long ago. Smart cities and 15-minute cities means that you're under so much surveillance and everything that you need, they're providing for you, but you think that you have everything you need, and actually, that just means you can't leave this area. You're imprisoned in this zone, this smart city. Because if you go out, it costs you money. Extra taxation. That sounds good. The convenience element. Like when we go on vacation, me and Misty went on a vacation about 2 years ago. And we went to a place, and this place had everything we need. Everything we needed. We had access to this beautiful area. We were staying where they had everything that we needed. We could ride bikes to everything we needed. It was awesome. But then when we want to, we could just leave. What if we don't have that availability to leave? What if it costs more money to leave? What if we don't have a vehicle anymore because, you know, vehicles are more taxed? So we just say, you know what, if we can't ride our bike, you know, 50 miles, then we're just going to stay in that area, that district, that city. It shouldn't be up to our leaders to tell us where we can or can't go. That's not what freedom and liberty is. If we choose to stay somewhere or live somewhere, if you want to go to assisted living or you want to go to this nice subdivision, absolutely, you should have opportunity to do that, but it should be on your freedom to say if I want to be there or not. If you want to live in the cities, be in the cities. If you don't want to live in the cities, I don't want to. But you know, this way is showing, hey, we want our streets full of people, not cars. So what does that do? People like us that live in rural America who can't get fossil fuels, who can't get these tractors cranked, who just can't thrive on farms anymore because we can't drive 20 minutes to our local grocery. We have to walk there. Well, that'd take all day going to a grocery, wouldn't it? So what does it do? It makes a mass migration to cities. Cities get overfilled, so therefore government steps in and they start building these smart cities and building areas for you to thrive in. Not only that, we're building certain areas for certain folks. Doesn't that sound like a kind of a old thing to do? We're putting people in categories? That could be kind of crazy. Last point, and we're gonna end this video. This is one that you're seeing more and more and more. And this is from the website. Again, I'm gonna link this website below. A new kind of capitalism takes root. A new kind of capitalism takes root. Now, capitalist societies have holes in it. But what we're seeing now is not capitalistic, it's just what they're saying, stakeholder capitalism. We want to see people have public-private partnerships. What do you think all these rich billionaires that have these foundations are doing? They're investing in the communities. They're investing in this area. They're investing in this technology. Now what they're actually doing is they're just being bigger lobbyers, and they're forming these foundations. They're putting money where they want it to go in order to manufacture what's going to happen next. Do you believe that all these people are giving their billions to just give away? No, it comes with a cost. Every money comes with cost. So when they give all those billions, it's what their agenda or what they say is going to be insightful to the person they're giving money to, and it's going to be utilized. Example, say someone come to your door tomorrow and said, I want to give you $1 million. See, that rooster's happy about it. I want to give you $1 million. I want you to take that $1 million and I want you to use it for whatever you want. Now, I do have a few stipulations. I need these few little things. You know, think about these things, and these would be good policies to have. If you buy a car, let's buy a certain kind of car. You know, if you do buy a house, we need to make sure it has some of these things in there. We need to make sure that it's smart. We need to make sure that it doesn't rely on any kind of fuel or propane. You're gonna do those things. You're gonna say, oh wow, yeah, absolutely. I'm getting $1 million. I'm getting your money. I'll spend it however you want me to. You see what happened? That manipulation. For you, you're getting the money. You think this is just money untouched. You believe this is gonna help you because it's gonna take the stress away. But slowly and surely, he threw those snippets and said, oh, we need this kind of car, we need this kind of home, we need to do this with it. And you were willing to do it because it wasn't your money. But it allowed those policies to be enacted based on what he was saying because you were so happy to have the money, it didn't matter. So now let's go bigger than that. We give billions across the world because we want these agendas pushed. We see billions pushed by these foundations and about these globalist elite to these politicians and to all these government entities. For what? To set policy. If you look at most congressmen make $120,000, $150,000, somewhere around there as an annual salary. If they've been there 2 to 4 to 6 years, how are they a quasi-millionaire now? They were just really good and they didn't spend any dollars and they built up. If they saved their whole paycheck for 10 years, that's over $1 million. They're not worth millions. And who would have paid for all the things that they bought for those last few years? So we see congressmen who are 3 to 4 or 5, 6 years into their terms, and all of a sudden they're mega millionaires. How are they mega millionaires? There could have been a lot of money thrown at them, and all of a sudden now you wonder why they're supporting certain things. I don't know. Let's think through that for a second. That's a form of capitalism that we're going to see that they're pushing. That public-private partnership, the one the government say, these are the winners, these are the ones we're going to use because they're backing what we're pushing. These are going to be the losers. These businesses shouldn't thrive, and we're going to tax them more because they're not doing what we want them to do. See the battle of crypto. We see people pushing against all these businesses that are not buying into this agenda, this wokeness. So when we hear businesses going woke, quote unquote woke, it's not that they're trying to worry about what the populace and the consumer want. They worry about what the government and these big businesses and stakeholders are wanting. Because they know if they can get a good score, they can get good in with these public-private partnerships, then they're okay. They don't have to worry about the people, the serfs. They just have to worry about where the money's coming from. Comments, oh, Colby, they're out there to helping us. You're believing too much of this mumbo jumbo. All I'm saying is read it. Read between the lines, understand what they're saying. And if you think about what's happening in our world and you start seeing some of this stuff like stakeholder capitalism, like the fact of the battle of fuel, the battle of meat, and now you're seeing all this stuff about fake meats and all these things. We're seeing more and more and more things going in the arms of our children. Who's testing this stuff? We're seeing more and more pushes of making a population healthy. Well, because we're murdering all the rest of them based on assisted suicides for the older and aborting the younger. The words sound good and they make us believe that it's actually good policies, and actually it may be things that is causing us to be more and more sheltered and less free. So do your research. Understand that these globalist agendas are not helping America. They're not helping the world. They're making a world of people who will listen to whatever they say, and that is not good. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Give me your thoughts on this video and tell me if you think I'm crazy. Some of this stuff is being seen around us. If you live in these areas and you see these things happening, what's that social unrest calls from? What is all this taxation calls from? What is inflation calls from? What is all this thievery and crime? Why is it happening? Why do we see all these businesses go woke and all of a sudden we have to support them because there's no other person to buy from? What do we think about digital currency? All those things we should be hashing out. So now it's time for you to say, okay, what can I do? It's time to save money, grow food, take care of our family, gain wisdom, and understand this is not just a worldly battle, it's a spiritual battle. So be thinking, okay, how can I get through this? It's not virtual reality. It's not going into the metaverse. It's finding peace and understanding that, again, as a Christian, I believe it's Jesus. Jesus can help us, and we need a spiritual awakening. We need a revival. If we don't see those things, I'm scared to see what globalist elite and globalist agendas are going to push us to. And I don't think it's going to be good for people like us. So thank you so much for watching. God bless you. Happy Homestead.